Hi and welcome to the first episode of Gamer's Living Room. Well, actually this is episode 0 and it's really just a mission statement to really tell you, the viewers, what this show is going to be all about. Well, I've been toying with this idea of doing YouTube videos for about a year now, and actually it's a year to the day when I first set up my camera and ran a little test video. Actually it was a different living room to this one, different apartment, but I just wasn't happy with the results. I felt kind of dejected by what, the results that I was getting. And over the last year I've been watching other people's YouTube channels and getting inspired by what they've done, and I thought, to hell with it. I'll just post something and get the ball rolling, and you never know where this will go. So YouTube's been around for a long time, maybe about 5 years I think. And how comes it's taken me so long to get my first video posted up here? To be honest, it's that although I knew YouTube existed, I wasn't really that familiar with it. Occasionally I get links sent to me by friends to videos of, I don't know, a panda sneezing or a cat chasing its tail or a baby biting another baby's finger, but I'd never really explored the potential of YouTube. And it wasn't until in a kind of a serendipitous series of events I stumbled across a magazine that I'd never seen before. And you'd probably find this quite amazing because it was in at the time, its 69th issue, but the magazine, and this is the very magazine itself, Retro Gamer. It's a British magazine, so you're thinking, how could I never have seen this? And I don't know, although I suspect that the supermarkets that I normally shop at for magazines, they don't really stock many copies of it. And I normally find it quite difficult to get a copy if I forget the release date and wait a few days. This magazine is normally gone from the shelves, and so I have to buy it direct from their website. But anyway, it was what was it about this magazine and YouTube? What's that tenuous connection? Well, I was strolling past the rack of video games magazines, and I normally pick up a copy of Edge, and then I saw this fantastic cover, but it wasn't the Final Fantasy that really held my attention. It was up here, Space Harrier. As much as I love Final Fantasy, especially Final Fantasy VII, it was this, Space Harrier, that grabbed my attention. And I'm a massive Space Harrier fan. I've loved it for years. I love it because it's one of those games that kind of sucked me into the world of video gaming. It was seeing that sit-down arcade machine for the first time and playing that back in, it must have been 1986, that although I'd played video games before then, that was one of the highlights of video gaming for me. And so to see they got a magazine that had I think it was a 4 or 6 page spread dedicated to Space Harrier, I just had to pick it up. I mean, just something I couldn't pass by. And so, I read bits of the magazine and obviously the article on Final Fantasy as well. But as I was flicking through it, I stumbled across another article, and it was this one here, about YouTube. And as they say, that it's RetroTube. And I think it's probably got about 20 different YouTube channels mentioned, and some of them they give more coverage to than others. And so what I did is, obviously as you would after reading the article, you go and check out some of the channels. And I was looking at it thinking, yeah, these guys are doing what I would really like to do. They're reviewing video games. Some of the review channels are really quite simple. They're just a guy talking to a camera saying why he loves or hates or is indifferent about a particular title. And I thought, well, that's something I can do. I love video games. I can talk a bit. And well, that is what I'm going to do. And as I looked through this, I saw some some of the channels that have kind of pointed me in the direction that I want to go. But I think out of all of these, my favourite has got to be, at the moment, as much as I love many of them, Happy Console Gamer. And they didn't give him that much coverage, but he's in here and talking about how his kind of infectious enthusiasm for video games makes you want to watch, and that is it for me. I think I can see a guy who loves video games more than I do. I mean, well, at least his collection would seem to state that. But, you know, that's what I want to do, and I wanted to share my love for video gaming with you. Now, some of you will probably be asking yourself, why Gamer's Living Room, plural, rather than the Gamer's Living Room? Well, I wanted to convey a sense of community here, and that this is kind of like a virtual Gamer's Living Room, that you are coming into my home and I am coming into yours. You know, I might not be in your living room right now. I might be on your TV, but I might also be on your laptop. I might be on your iPad, on your iPhone, I don't know. You know, that's the beauty of YouTube. It can be screened in so many different places. But it's this idea of community, of sharing my thoughts and ideas about video games with you, and, you know, you giving me feedback about what you like, what you don't like. It's that dialogue that I want to build up, and that, you know, that's for me one of the great things about YouTube, is this sharing of knowledge, this sharing of information, sharing of passion for what it is you love. And that's where I'm coming from with Gamer's Living Room. So you're probably thinking to yourself now, well, what's this show going to be about? What's the content? I've been sitting here listening to this guy waffling for the last few minutes. When's he going to tell me what the show's about? Well, as this is the mission statement, I'll outline the show as I see it at the moment. I'm going to be reviewing games, obviously, similar to many of the other websites out there. So I'm going to be talking about retro and modern. I'm going to focus on games that I really love from the past, things that have been kind of gaming milestones for me, gaming highlights, the things that I feel passionate about. I'll also talk about games that I think fell short of the mark, games that really annoyed me, you know, because I don't like to whinge that much, but sometimes there are games that they could have been so much better. So I think those kind of things would be worth a mention. Similarly with the current crop of games, the current consoles, the PlayStation 3, the Xbox 360, the Wii, the handheld variants, that kind of stuff. I'll be talking about those, reviewing games from those as well. Hopefully I'm going to be looking to the future as well and talking about up-and-coming titles, you know, possible technologies that we'll be seeing in a few years' time as well, and giving my thoughts and opinions about how the landscape of video gaming is going to change. So that's kind of the show in a nutshell, and hopefully you're going to enjoy it. The final element in all of this is the Gamer's Living Room website, which, as you can see along the bottom here, is www.gamersliving.net, and over there you'll find obviously links to all of the YouTube videos that I've created, but it will have accompanying material. There'll be additional content, there'll be written reviews, there'll be links to other sites that I find interesting, links to news and all that sort of stuff. So hopefully you'll go and check that out. So what I need you to do now is to leave me the feedback I've been asking for. So simplest way to do that, if you're logged into YouTube, is your thumbs up, thumbs down button there. If you like, dislike it. If you've got a bit more time, you just type a little comment in the box below. If you've got a bit more time than that, please leave a video response. I'd love to hear from you. And finally, if you want to see more of these videos, then there's the subscribe button. So please feel free to click that. So, well, this is Simon, and from my living room to your wherever, take care. Bye-bye.